At a party, my wife said, "This is Ryan. He works with me." When I looked into his eyes, I realized I was staring at my own reflection. But here's the thing that will haunt me forever. I wasn't looking at Ryan's eyes. I was looking at the reflection in my wife's wedding ring as she held another man's hand. What I discovered that night didn't just destroy my marriage. It unraveled a web of lies so intricate, so perfectly crafted that I questioned everything I thought I knew about the woman I'd loved for 8 years. Before I tell you how my entire world crumbled in the span of one evening, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail of this story. And stick around until the end, because the final twist will leave you speechless. My name is David, and I thought I had the perfect marriage. Sarah and I met in college, married young, and built what I believed was an unshakable foundation of trust and love. She worked at a marketing firm downtown, often staying late for client meetings and project deadlines. I worked in tech, mostly from home, which gave me plenty of time to notice things, little things at first. The way she'd angle her phone away from me, how she'd suddenly started going to the gym at 6 a.m. Sarah, who used to joke that morning was a 4-letter word, new lingerie that I never got to see her wear. But I trusted her. Love makes you blind, doesn't it? The company Christmas party was supposed to be our night. Sarah had been talking about it for weeks. How excited she was for me to finally meet her colleagues. "You'll love everyone," she kept saying. "Especially my project partner, Ryan. He's special." Sarah looked stunning, wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. Professional, but different. She seemed nervous, checking her phone constantly. "There he is," she said suddenly, grabbing my arm. And that's when I saw him, Ryan, tall, confident, the kind of guy who commands a room without trying. But it wasn't his presence that made my blood run cold. It was the way Sarah's entire demeanor changed. Her voice got softer, her laugh more genuine than I'd heard in months. And when she introduced us, "This is Ryan. He works with me." There was something in her tone, something intimate. But the moment that shattered everything was a small scar on his knuckle, the exact same scar Sarah had described when telling me about a childhood accident. Except she'd said it was her scar from when she was 7 years old. My mind started racing. Sarah had told me that story on our third date about falling off her bike and scraping her knuckle on the pavement. She'd shown me the tiny white line on her hand. But now, staring at Ryan's identical mark, I realized the scar Sarah had shown me was on the wrong hand. I spent the rest of that party watching, really watching, the way Ryan and Sarah moved around each other with practiced ease, how they never stood too close in public, but somehow always ended up in the same corner of the room. The way she'd touch her necklace, our anniversary gift, whenever he looked at her. And then I saw it, the reflection I mentioned at the beginning. Sarah was standing near the window, talking to another colleague, when Ryan approached from behind. She didn't turn around, didn't acknowledge him, but her left hand, the one with her wedding ring, slowly reached back and found his. For just 3 seconds, they stood there, fingers intertwined, while she continued her conversation as if nothing was happening. But in the surface of her ring, in that tiny curved mirror of gold, I could see Ryan's face. And the look in his eyes, it was the same look I used to see when I held her hand. That night, I couldn't sleep. While Sarah showered, I did something I'd never done before. I went through her phone. What I found made me wish I'd stayed blind. Text messages going back 8 months. Not just romantic messages, which would have been devastating enough. These were the texts of 2 people planning a life together. Apartment listings, vacation destinations, even a message from Ryan asking if she'd told me about the promotion opportunity in Seattle. Seattle. Sarah had mentioned a possible promotion 3 weeks earlier, a career opportunity that would mean relocating. She'd presented it as something we'd decide together as a couple. But reading those messages, I realized the truth. She'd already decided, and Ryan was going with her. But wait, it gets worse. Remember that scar? I became obsessed with it. I started digging into Sarah's past, stories she told me, memories we'd supposedly shared, and slowly, horrifically, I began to realize that Sarah had been lying about who she was from the very beginning. The childhood stories, the family anecdotes, even some of her personal experiences, they weren't hers. They were Ryan's. She'd been weaving his life into her own identity for so long that she'd forgotten where she ended and he began. That promotion in Seattle, it wasn't real. It was their exit strategy. They'd been planning to disappear together, leaving me with a fake story about a career opportunity while they started over somewhere else. But here's the part that nearly broke me. I found a draft email in her deleted folder. An email to me, never sent, dated 2 months earlier. It read, "David, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I never meant for things to go this far, but I can't keep pretending to be someone I'm not. The woman you fell in love with, she doesn't really exist." I could have confronted her immediately, could have screamed, thrown things, demanded explanations, but something inside me had gone cold and calculating. If Sarah could plan and deceive for months, so could I. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, photos, recordings of her late-night work calls that were actually conversations with Ryan about their future together. I hired a private investigator, and what he discovered made my blood turn to ice. Sarah and Ryan weren't just having an affair. They'd done this before to other people in other cities. There were at least 2 other men in the past 5 years who had been left devastated and confused when their perfect girlfriends had suddenly disappeared. Sarah wasn't just cheating on me. She was a professional heartbreaker, and I was her latest mark. The confrontation happened exactly 1 week after that Christmas party. I laid everything out on our dining room table, photos, messages, the investigator's report. When Sarah came home from her late meeting, she found me sitting there surrounded by the evidence of her deception. "How long have you been planning to destroy me?" I asked. She didn't deny it, didn't even seem surprised. She just stood there looking at the photos of herself with Ryan and said the words that will haunt me forever. "I never meant to hurt you, David, but I stopped being myself so long ago that I forgot how to love anyone, including you." But here's the final twist that no one saw coming. Not even me. As Sarah stood there confessing to years of deception, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Check your email. You need to see this. A friend." The email contained a video file, security footage from the hotel where the Christmas party was held, but not from that night from 6 months earlier. And there, clear as day, was Sarah at the same hotel, in the same red dress at another company party. But she wasn't with Ryan. She was with another man. A man who looked remarkably like me. Sarah wasn't just a serial heartbreaker. She had a type. And Ryan was her next victim, just like I had been. She'd been playing us both, creating elaborate stories, weaving lies so complex that even she'd gotten lost in them. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd loved, didn't just steal hearts. She collected them. And somewhere out there, Ryan was probably having the same conversation with his wife that I was having with mine. Sarah left that night and never came back. The last I heard, she was in Portland working for a nonprofit. Ryan, it turns out, filed for divorce the same week I did. Sometimes I wonder if Sarah even remembers who she really is underneath all those borrowed stories and stolen lives. But I've learned something important. The eyes really don't lie. You just have to know where to look. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, smash that like button and subscribe for more true stories that prove reality is stranger than fiction. And remember, sometimes the person you trust most is the one you should trust least. What would you have done in my situation? Let me know in the comments below.